On the road often referred to as the highway to hell, John Maclean faced the second hardest challenge of his life. He was attempting to become the first wheelchair athlete to complete the Hawaiian Ironman.
Here's a huge goal that I've got in front of me, and if I can complete that, then that's my way of coping. It is very difficult when you consider people looking at you and talking about you, and again, the way you feel about yourself being in a wheelchair, your body image, there's a lot of things that come into it. So again, if I can compete with able-bodied athletes over tremendous distances or world-class events, then that's my way of coping.
It was 1995, and after finishing the 180-kilometre cycle leg on his hand cycle, John still had the marathon to complete in his racing wheelchair, a device not made for hills.
So I guess it was just raw emotion that was getting up those hills, because I was well and truly spent. I didn't have anything left in the tank at all before the marathon. So it was very, very hard. I guess it was the old analogy, head down and bum up. And for me to actually have to turn the wheelchair around to get up there. But it was very, very difficult, and it's very hard to try and put into words the emotion and the pain that I was going through.
Pain's not going to last forever. Remember this. Mate, you get that on tape, guys.
John finally crossed the line. It was a first, but the feat wasn't officially recognised because he'd missed the cut-off time on the cycle leg by 40 minutes. Last year, John returned for the third time, still seeking that official Ironman finisher medal.
It's great to finally finish, and now I do consider myself as an able-bodied athlete, because if I can complete that course, which I did, and beat quite a few able-bodied elite athletes at the World Championships over that course, I'm very happy now to close the book and say that I'm an Ironman.
It gives you goosebumps. 1995, our special guest here, John Maclean, becoming the first wheelchair athlete to complete the gruelling Hawaiian Ironman, and that's not all he's done in a remarkable career. But John, you were a pretty handy rugby league player back in the day.
Yeah, Dad took us to watch the Penrith Panthers. I grew up in Tregear, a suburb of Mount Druitt, so the big guys that play footy for Penrith, and we would go and watch the boys play, and that's where the dream started. I thought, imagine one day being good enough to run on the paddock and play first grade. I played 23s in reserve grade, wasn't good enough for first, but it's great to chase that dream, and things changed after that.
Your accident happened in 1988, so you were 22 years of age, a very sporty fella. You talked in the package about how you didn't really identify with being in a wheelchair and you found that tough. How did you get through some pretty tough times?
Yeah, Kate, it was dark for a long time, and I think it's important to talk about the darkness, because it's not always about medals and finishing lines. It was difficult because when I woke up coming out of the coma, my life was not going to be the same. I was not going to play football, I was not going to run, I was not going to do much. I just wanted to live, so I fought to survive. When I got out of the coma eventually in North Shore Hospital here, the other guy on the other side of the room couldn't move at all. He'd broken his neck. So that relevance point around I'm alive, I'm grateful, I can still move some parts of my body, that's very fortunate. And then you gradually start to go, I've got to get outside and I've got to start to play again. And Dad said, son, I'll give you my legs if you could, like a father would to a son. And my best mate coming to visit me in hospital once a week for 4 months, there's solid friendship. And we just started to explore again, and the first thing was the Beijing Triathlon, which led to the Ironman, watching that on television. And it was so special to finally get it right after the third attempt, to see myself as an athlete competing against world-class elite athletes.
Well, you mentioned the Ironman. We watched it. Everyone here, it was spine-tingling watching it. How do you have this stupidly crazy idea that you can compete in the Hawaiian Ironman? How do you go about then making that a part of your life?
Thanks for that reference, Morgs. There's always a nice connection, so let me share that with you. I wanted to do the triathlon that I was training for. That was my mountain to climb at the time, and my best mate encouraged me to do that, so we did. And then I'm watching Wilder Sports, and I watched the Ironman in 1994. I see Greg Welsh win it for the first time, first non-American, massive fan of Welshie. And there was a wheelchair athlete who was also participating, and he did not finish. I saw opportunity. I thought maybe that could be me. I'm not going to play first grade football, but maybe I could be the first wheelchair athlete on the planet to do the toughest endurance event, one-day event, and that's how that started.
You conquered the Hawaiian Ironman, also a dual Paralympian, picking up a silver medal in Beijing. When you were in that hospital bed, did you ever think you'd achieve all the things you've done?
No, the dark was very dark. Let me briefly share some of that with you. When I got hit by the truck, broke 15 bones, was obviously sliding down the road, using the body to gradually stop up against the rail, and I was in discomfort for a very long time. So when I come out of the coma, I made a sense to myself I was in hospital for 4 months. I was going to do something with this second chance to life. I wasn't sure what that was going to be in those early stages. The other commitment I made to myself was I want to inspire kids in wheelchairs around the world. So when this Ironman presented itself, I thought there's a vehicle for me to get exposure and hopefully encourage young boys and young girls in wheelchairs around the world to chase their dreams as well.
In 2013, you learn how to walk again. It's remarkable. You talk about inspiring the younger generation in the wheelchair, but talk us through that journey, because what an incredible path.
Yes, it is difficult to put words around that, but I was just lucky that, again, sport was the vehicle. Pete Jacobs, who won the Ironman in 2012, is a dear friend and an ambassador for the foundation. He said he's going to go and see this guy named Ken Ware. He's got a different therapy, and he said, I'll let you know how I go. So he went up there limping, came back sprinting, 3 days. He said, you have to go and see the guy. So I went up there and we just explored. He said, what is your dream? And I said, I want to walk on the beach with my wife. You asked me the question, that's the response. So we went through this tremor therapy. It's very different than anything that I had experienced previously. There was not MRI technology back in 1988 in terms of what is happening within the spinal cord. And he said, I think there's more in you. So we started to explore that. We started to do weights on my legs, minimal to start with, and gradually start to build up. And then there was this belief that maybe it's possible to do that. And eventually my wife and I did have that. I fell over many times leading up to that, but then we managed to do that. And that then started to create another dream. And I thought, I wonder if it's possible to go back and finish what I started. What would that look like? And if I could do that, I'd want to cross the line with my wife and son holding hands. That'd be a moment. So that's what eventually unfolded, and it was very special to learn to walk again. Very grateful for those people, Ken Ware initially, who's made that introduction, then carbon fibre leg-based technology, so a lot of pieces have played a part.
So cool.
Well, John, you're an absolute inspiration, and we're so thrilled to have you as part of the Wide World of Sports family for the upcoming Paralympics. Coming up, we have another superstar on the show, Madam Butterfly, Susie O'Neill. She joins us next.